Môžeš, jasné, seď, jasnačka, poď si, môžete aj ležať. Robte tak, aby ste si vytvorili pohodlíčko, pretože tá prednáška bude naozaj veľmi dobrá, alebo teda prezentácia. Ja už som to hovoril, že bude to pútavou formou a hovoril som, že príde veľká osobnosť futurológie. Ja už teraz môžem povedať aj to, že ten mladý muž, ktorý príde o chvíľočku na pódium, sa volá Roey Tzezana, PhD. Je to futurológ z Tel Avivskej univerzity a výskumník na Brown University. Je autorom viacerých kníh o budúcnosti technológií a spoločnosti. Už to zaváňa samozrejme dobrou témou. Je spoluzakladateľom Simply Politics projektu Telebody, firmy, tá Telebody je firma, ktorá operuje telerobotmi, ktoré globálne dokážu učiť, prednášať na viacerých miestach a súčasne používa samozrejme všelijaké tie robotické zvraty. Toto je všetko to, čo vás práve teraz čaká. Tak si urobte pohodlíčko, aby ste sa na to pripravili. A ja už túto chvíľu môžem uviesť nášho ďalšieho významného zahraničného hostia, dámy a páni, Roey Tzezana, PhD.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hi. Hey. Hi. Good evening. Okay. So, nice to meet you all. Isn't the presentation, aren't you waiting for the presentation over there? Come on. Svetlana, I need a presentation to show on the screen. That's why I have the laptop. Yes, great, thank you. Okay, yay, hooray for the technicians. Okay, so guys, nice to meet you all. So good to be here today. I want to ask you a question. Who here loves robots? Raise your hands if you love robots. Raise your hands if you love robots. Seriously? That's all? Raise your hands if you love robots. Okay. Who here wants to be a robot? Raise your hands if you want to be a robot. Okay. Just one. Just one person. Okay, another one from the government is not so sure. Okay, guys, for the past 3 years, I've actually been a robot. Because instead of sending my biological body to travel around the world, I sent a robot, an actual robot. This is what it looks like. This is the robot over here. It's a robot by Double Robotics, and I am controlling it from the United States, and I can actually talk with people all over the world using this robot. So we started using the robot to give lectures all over the world. In Israel, in Kazakhstan, in Chile, in Hungary, in Bulgaria, everywhere. And we suddenly discovered something beautiful, that people really, really like the robot. In fact, they like the robot better than they liked my biological body. So we gave lectures to old people, to young people, to students. We even appeared in the Israeli Congress a few times, talking about the future of work and how robots are going to influence the future of work. And I don't know how it works with politicians here, but in Israel, when you appear in front of a politician with a robot, he immediately asks you for one thing. What does he ask for? A selfie, to take a selfie with the robot. So since that time, I'm always taking selfies with politicians. We've traveled to other countries. And actually, about a year ago, my wife was supposed to give birth. It happens to wives sometimes. And I was invited to Kazakhstan at that time. But I didn't want to leave her alone. That's not very smart, right? No. So we made a deal. I offered her this deal, that I will travel to Kazakhstan, but I will leave my robotic body with her, so that when she gives birth, she can take the robotic body with her and squeeze the robot's neck while I'm connecting to it from Kazakhstan and encourage her to give birth, and so on. And she said it's a great idea, except that there should be one change. You should send the robot to Kazakhstan and you should stay in the delivery room yourself. So this is the robot in Kazakhstan, while I'm actually near my wife's side in my biological body in the delivery room and still controlling the robot. And again, people connected to the robot, even in places we didn't think they ever will. They took the robot to places that really they shouldn't have. And I think my biggest shock came when my mother, who is 65 years old, and she's a little technophobic, she said she wanted to play with her grandson. He's 1 year old. So this is what we arranged for the two of them. Here is what we arranged for the two of them. You can see the grandmother here playing with her grandson, who is actually her size, even though he is 1 year old. And if you would have told me just 3 years ago that things like that would be possible, I would have said, no way, that my mother would use robots and that I would have robots traveling all over the world, but this is actually what happened. And this is why we need future studies. As the futurist Arthur C. Clarke said, if by some miracle a prophet could describe the future exactly, his predictions would sound so bizarre, so absurd, that nobody would listen. So we need future studies to think about the things that could be, about other futures, about crazy futures. And everything that we've learned shows us that this is the case. Here's another question for you. Who here entered Wikipedia this week? Wikipedia. Did you use Wikipedia? Anyone? Okay, very, very good. Just have the audience. 20 years ago, the idea that Wikipedia would exist sounded incredible. Nobody thought it would exist. Everybody thought you had to have Encyclopedia Britannica with people, experts, writing it. Today, everybody can write encyclopedias. Uber and Airbnb, just 10 years ago, were considered impossible. Nobody actually thought that Airbnb would be used. We all thought that you shouldn't go to other people's houses as a kid. But suddenly now today, go to other people's homes. You enter their cars. Do it everywhere. And the rate of inventions just keeps on accelerating. For example, I don't know if you have this in Slovakia. What is this? What is this? What is this? Phone, very good. Oh, very good. Okay, you deserve to be scientists. So, the phone, for the phone to reach 50 million users, it took just 75 years. For the radio to reach 50 million users, it took 35 years. For the TV to reach 50 million users, it took 13 years. For the internet, 4 years. For the smartphones, 3 years. But there is one app for which it took just 2 weeks to reach 50 million users. Which app is that? What? YouTube. Not Facebook. Which app? Angry Birds. Very nice. But for Angry Birds to reach 50 million users, it took 30 days, not 2 weeks. But you're good. 2 weeks, 50 million users, the big winner, Pokemon Go. And suddenly everyone are chasing Pokemon all over the world in just 2 weeks. So how can we prepare for the future when the future is constantly changing? When every 2 weeks, everything can change completely? My answer, and the futurist answer, is that we need to understand the new technologies and we need to think about new ideas, new stories to explain how reality can function, how society can function. And I want to talk with you today about 2 technologies, blockchain and artificial intelligence. Let's start with artificial intelligence. So, I want to dispel a few myths, a few false ideas about artificial intelligence. This AI that you see here, those are robots, and as you can see, they're working in a factory. They are confined between walls. They are doing the same work again and again and again and again and again. But if you take them out of the factory, they can't work anymore. This is the new AI. What is this? Google car, very good. This is the Google car, an autonomous car, a car that drives by itself on the road. Now, if this car meets, let's say, John, can I use you as a victim? Thank you. So if this car, stand up, thanks. Great. Now, I am an autonomous car. This is John. I'm driving straight at John. I get to John. What do? I stop. Very good, John. You can sit down. Thank you. But in which case does the autonomous car doesn't stop? if it meets John in the street. Sometimes the autonomous car needs to decide to move over John, to actually crush John, make an accident. Not very nice, not very nice. You don't want it to happen. But in some cases, when the autonomous car is driving down the street, there are plenty of other cars behind it. If it were to make a stop, a sharp stop, then all the other cars would crash into it. So the autonomous car needs to make decisions, complex decisions on its own. It can be out there on the street and it can make decisions for us, decide what's right to do and what's wrong. But it's not just the autonomous car that is making such decisions. You can see the new AI in Watson, for example, IBM's Watson. That's one of the top artificial intelligence engines in the world. And it starts making medical decisions. We're starting to use it as a medical doctor. We're starting to ask for its advice and medical consultation. And it's starting to replace some human medical doctors even today. Now here is another myth about old AI, that AI is segregated from people, that we keep it away, we don't let people get close to it. Here is a robot, a new robot, that's doing something very interesting. Can you tell me what it's doing? Look closely. What is it doing? Yeah, it's cooking. It's making spaghetti bolognese. It's called Molly, and we use it, it was developed by looking at chefs, professional chefs making thousands of different dishes. And the robot can now emulate them and can make any dish in your house. But look carefully, and what you'll see is that the robot is kept away from human beings, behind the screen. So it can't hurt other human beings. This is the new AI, and this is the Baxter Robot that actually works alongside human beings. It works together with us. It cooperates, collaborates with us. So this robot can work together with human beings in a factory, bring them items, bring them tools, and so on. We're starting to see robots everywhere today. They're starting to be all over our streets and in our skies. For example, what is this? Yeah? An aerial drone. So this is an aerial drone, a robot, an autonomous robot that flies in the sky. And you can see it flying here in Africa. Because in Tanzania, in Ghana, in Rwanda, in countries all over Africa, you're starting to see aerial drones rising from villages where people are hunting antelopes and gazelles with spears, and then they take the antelopes apart and they put it on the drone, and the drone actually carries it to the big city. So the aerial drones, the robots are working together with human beings to deliver items. Here's another question. Who likes pizza in here? Who likes pizza? Wow, more people like pizza than you like robots. Something is wrong here. But okay, if you like pizza, you should go to New Zealand, where you can actually get your pizza from the sky. Oh, I love your face. You're like, whoa, I want this. Finally, a use for technology. So yeah, you can get the pizza from the sky wherever you are. The aerial drone just goes up and goes down at your place, and you get the pizza to you. Sometimes with some feathers, because the ravens try to eat the pizza too, and they are not very careful with the rotors. You can see places where aerial drones are starting to be used for medicine, for healthcare. Like this aerial drone that can actually deliver the monitor defibrillator, the actual item that you need in order to shock a human being. It delivers the item straight to you. So aerial drones are starting to be all around us. Here is another myth that we're starting to dispel. Who is this guy? Come on, who is it? What? Schwarzenegger, yes, but this is the Terminator, the big bad robot sent from the future to destroy all of humanity. So think about the robots you know. the Terminator, Optimus Prime, Megatron, all kinds of robots. And what's so special about them is they are big robots, but they are individual entities. You know, you take an AI and you put it in a robot brain. It doesn't have to be that way. Today we're starting to talk about AI that is in the cloud. And from the cloud, it controls hundreds, thousands, sometimes millions of robots all over the world. AI doesn't have to exist in just one body. It can collaborate, it can work with many different bodies. So you're starting to see ideas like this one. This is a concept car of an autonomous car. And what's special about this car? Look on the roof. Look on the roof of the car. What's special about the car? What does it have on its roof? Yes, it has aerial drones on the roof. So think about it. Autonomous car with autonomous drones. So you wanted to make a delivery. Let's say that Amazon. Does Amazon work here in Slovakia? Yes? Okay, great. So Amazon wants to make a delivery to your house. It has the autonomous car driving constantly around the city, picking up the delivery from the storeroom and getting it to your house. And instead of having a delivery guy getting out of the car and bringing the stuff to your house, the aerial drone brings it to your house. It gets up from the car and lands near your house, and then it puts the package there and brings it back and returns to the car. And this process repeats itself all the time. So we're starting to talk about robotic cities, cities in which robots are collaborating and working together to service mankind, to service everyone. The fourth old idea is that AI has no creativity. It has no innovation. But we're starting to go past that. And I want to show you why. What you see here are two drawings, abstract drawings. One of them is by a human being. The other is by AI. Now, the AI was run over 80,000 different abstract drawings made by human beings, and then the programmers told the AI to draw new abstract drawings of its own. And this is the result. And I want to ask you, this is a quiz for all of you. Which drawing was made by an AI, and which one was made by a human being? So, look carefully. If you think that number 1 is by an AI, raise your hands now. Okay. Lower than down. If you think the number 2 is by an AI, raise your hands now. Okay, many more people. Why? You think I'm trying to trick you because it looks more like something that a human being would have drawn? Okay, the right answer is that I've tricked you, indeed. Both drawings are by an AI. Both of them are by a computer. And actually, when all the drawings made by an AI were rated by human beings, who didn't know who drew what, the people thought that the AI drawings are actually more inspiring and more beautiful than the drawings made by human artists. So AI is starting to create drawings for us. It's starting to make music for us. And it's also starting to devise new strategies and ideas for us. What you see here is an AI playing a game, an Atari game, where it has to hit the ball and the ball needs to bounce back up and hit the bricks. I bet some of you, the old people, played this game back when they were young, us old people on the Atari. Now, when you let an AI play this game, at the beginning, it doesn't know what to do. It's like a baby, it's just starting to learn. But after 1 hour, it gets better. After 2 hours, it's as good as any human player in the game. And then the researchers left it for 1 night in the lab, for 8 full hours to play the game. And when they came back, they found out that the AI produced a novel strategy, a new strategy, and it got the ball up there. So it found ideas that even the programmers didn't know about and didn't think about. And we're starting to see this in many other areas as well. For example, there are 3D printers I know over here and over there, and we're starting to think, what can we do with 3D printers? So we can take all the old concepts, like a heat conductor for a car, and we can 3D print it. And that's great, but it looks the same, but it costs much more. But when you let an AI try to design a heat conductor from scratch, this is what it looks like. It's something that looks almost biological in nature, and you can 3D print it, and it turns out that it's much more efficient and lighter and requires less material than what you would need to create this heat conductor. You can do the same. You can ask an AI to design the chassis of a car, and this is what it designs for you, something innovative, something that looks almost like the skeleton of a human being. You can even go to Amazon. Amazon now has an AI fashion designer. So you buy the AI, you buy the camera, the Amazon camera, you stand in front of the camera in the morning, you do like this, the camera says, and fits certain clothes specifically for you, and can even design new clothes specifically for you. So AI definitely has creativity. And the last thing that I want to talk about regarding AI is that it cannot invoke emotions. Well, this is starting to change completely, because AI today can actually analyze human emotions better than human beings in many cases. It can analyze the pain on people's faces better than human medical doctors. In China right now, they are testing a system in schools. And the system, there is a camera sitting on the whiteboard, and it's constantly looking at all the students in the class, and it can say when they are falling asleep, when they are bored, when they are happy, when they are interested or excited, and constantly tell the teacher what to do. So AI can definitely start to identify feelings. It can even talk with you. If you need a psychologist, for example, if you need a psychologist, you can talk with robot, a chatbot on the internet, which can tell you what to do to relax, which can talk with you. And in Japan, there have been people who have talked with bots for more than 5 hours straight, just talking with them because they feel that the robots understand them. And as it turns out, robots are being used for many other purposes as well, to help connect people with robots, and I won't talk too much about that. But it looks like in a year from now, we won't know which is which. We won't know if we are talking with a human being on the phone or with an AI. In 5 or 10 years from now, when we are talking with virtual avatars, we won't know anymore whether we are talking with a human being or with an AI, with an avatar controlled by artificial intelligence. And these are all things that are starting to happen today. It's not far away in the future. If it happens in just 10 years, that means that my son will only be 16 when those things are actually occurring. So what does it all mean together? We're bringing AI to everyone, and that means we're starting to experience a future of abundance, of plenty, because robots can start performing things that human beings used to do in the past. We'll start seeing AI consulting for no cost, basically. Medical consulting, medical consultation. We're going to see a legal consultation. It's already starting. We're going to see insurance consultation, and so on. So you can just open your phone and get the best consultation that you want. Psychologists, medical doctors, etc. We're going to see a decline in the cost of items that we need to work for. For example, food. Who is going to work for food? Who is going to work on the farms 10 years from now, it's going to be robots. And as a result, we can manufacture food much more cheaply than today. Our devices will go down in price because we will be able to recycle items very easily, as in with this Apple robot that can recycle 200 smartphones an hour or so. But the question that we must ask is, who is going to get all this power? Because AI has certain rules. It is operated according to certain rules. So who is getting the power in these cases? It's always those who program the AI, those who regulate the AI, those who tell the AI what to do. And this is where things start to change. Because I now want to talk with you about another big technology that is starting to change the world. And this is the blockchain technology, which, as Mark Andreessen, one of the top investors in the internet, said, the blockchain is the most important technology since the internet itself. And why is that? So in order to explain that, we need first to talk about the Bitcoin. Okay, here's a question first. Who here invested in Bitcoin? Who bought a Bitcoin? Who bought Bitcoin? Just, okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, who sold the Bitcoin before it crashed? No? You're still holding it? Okay, I hope it will go back up. So let's talk about the Bitcoin. The Bitcoin is a digital coin. Now, what does it mean? It's a piece of code on your computer. That's it. But digital coins have existed for quite some time now. Since the beginning of the internet, there were companies, especially in the US, who tried to produce digital coins. And those digital coins never actually worked. Almost nobody used them. But the question is, why did nobody use them? Why is the Bitcoin so successful where the digital coins of the past did not work? So in order to demonstrate that, I need a volunteer. Let's see. You want a Bitcoin, you want a Bitcoin. Great, okay, what's your name? Michael, great name. Okay, so Michael, all you have to do is stand here, it's okay. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you a Bitcoin, Michael, okay? Okay, oh, he's smiling. He really wants it. Okay, it's not a real Bitcoin. Here is the Bitcoin. Okay, give me your hand. No, 2 hands, come on. Be respectable. There, save this Bitcoin, okay? Now, Michael, you have a Bitcoin, or even more simply, a digital coin, a piece of code, okay? And now, John, over there, we used him before, so, yeah, no, it's okay, you can sit down. John has a lunar hammer. I don't know if you've seen it before, but it's a real piece of art. So, he is willing to give you that lunar hammer for that digital coin that you have. Yes, he is. Okay, so please give John your digital coin. Very good. But Michael, you are a young, intelligent, and very honest person. Why am I saying that you are honest? Because I gave you a piece of code and you can transfer it on. But what would a dishonest person do with this piece of code that has value? What's the easiest thing to do with a piece of code? To copy it. To copy it, because it's just data, it's just information. So what if you were not as honest as you are, and that's really great to see young, honest people in Slovakia, if you were not that honest, you would just copy that coin, right, in your computer. And you will still give John 1 coin. Yeah, but it's not worth much now because, you know, Michael still has the original coin. Now you want to buy a house. So what are you going to do, Michael? You're going to copy the coin again. Okay, so you're going to copy the coin a few million times until you have 1 million coins, and in that you're going to pay for the house, and so on. Okay, so what we see here, thank you, Michael, you can sit down, you've done a great job. So what we see here is that the economy can't work with digital coins like that. Because not everybody in Slovakia is as honest as Michael is, or as young as Michael is. People don't, we need to find a way to make sure that digital coins are not copied again and again and again, because otherwise you can't have an economy of digital coins. So how do we do that? What the original companies tried to do was to have a database in which all the digital coins, all the transactions made by the digital coins were saved, were stored. So if Michael were to try giving John a digital coin, the transaction would be checked automatically through the internet in this database, and the company behind the digital coin would check it, and if it were to see that Michael already used that coin before, it would know that this transaction is not valid, that Michael just tried to cheat. So you need a database in order to make sure that the digital coins are verified, that nobody is trying to cheat you. But nobody used those digital coins. Why not? Because just one company had control over the database. And you can't trust a company to do the right thing with the database. You can't trust it because if the company wants to suddenly get more money, it can change the rules of the game. And China wouldn't use these coins. Why not? Because those companies that produce the digital coins were in the United States. China can't trust the United States. Japan can't trust the United States. Nobody trusts the United States when it comes to money. Of course, nobody trusts anyone else when it comes to money. And that is why the digital coins didn't work before the Bitcoin. But with the Bitcoin, something suddenly changed. Instead of having a database that just one company creates and maintains, suddenly, in the case of the Bitcoin, everybody have that database on their computers. So whenever there is a transaction with Bitcoin, the transaction immediately is checked, not according to one database that is in the hands of one company in one country. Instead, the transaction is being checked all over the world, is being verified all over the world in each and everyone's computers. And that takes a lot of computing power. So why do people agree to check these transactions? Why are they willing to do that? Because if you take part in this economy, if you actually agree to contribute your computing power for this economy, the Bitcoin economy, you take part essentially in a lottery, and sometimes you win a Bitcoin. You win the lottery, you get a Bitcoin. So everybody in the Bitcoin economy are competing to get more Bitcoin. And the new coins are being produced by the system itself, by the algorithms themselves. This is an economy that nobody owns. No single company, no single government. If the US doesn't like Bitcoin, well, that's a shame because it can do nothing about it. The Bitcoin is being operated by all of us. You can decide whether to take part in the Bitcoin economy or not, but no government can shut it down. No company can stop it. It's a coin by the people, for the people. And the technology behind this coin, the Bitcoin, is called the blockchain. Because all of these transactions are being checked again and again. And when they are verified, they are put in a block, stored in a block, and this block is connected to a chain. Yep, here it is. To a chain, and creates a database in the cloud. Now, I want to explain to you why it's so important, why this is such a big deal that we have blockchain. The Bitcoin was just a prototype. This is the first product based on blockchain technology. First products always, pardon me, suck. They are always bad in the beginning. This is just the first version. And we are now starting to create more interesting applications and more useful applications for the blockchain. Here is an example of one of the ideal application of the blockchain. It is called the decentralized, meaning that it has no single center. The decentralized global ledger. By ledger, I mean database. What it means is that we have a database in the cloud that doesn't just hold all the transactions in Bitcoin or in some digital coin, but it holds all the information in the world. And why is that so important? John. No, I'm not going to use you again, it's okay. But I want to demonstrate something. Let's say that I am a banker, okay? A banker 100 years ago in the past. And you, what's your name? Shout. What? Sonia. Sonia, great. So Sonia comes to me as a banker and she asks for a loan. A loan, she wants money. How much money do you want? $1 million. Euro or dollar? Euros, €1 million. It's great to have ambitions. So, I'm looking at Sonia, and yes, sure, why not? Here, €1 million, no problem. And once I give her the money as a loan, what's the first thing that I do as a banker? I open my notebook, and I write down in my notebook that Sonia now owes me €1 million. And then I take this notebook, I close it carefully, I get up from the chair, I go to the wall, I remove the picture of my old grandfather with the mustache and the beard, and I open the safe, and I put the notebook inside, and I close the safe, and I put the picture back, and I go back to sit down. Why do I do all this? Because this notebook is the most important possession that I have. If I lose this notebook, what will happen to my bank? It would immediately crash because I wouldn't know who I owe money to. I wouldn't know who owes money to me and how much. So this is why we have cybersecurity today, because this notebook is actually the database. Today we call it a database. And we need cybersecurity to defend our databases. Each company holds its database behind huge walls of cybersecurity. But there is a problem. Companies need to work together. They need to collaborate. They need to share information. One company needs to pay to another company, and so on. So whenever one company needs to pay to another company, we need to check what's going on in the database of each company. And that's a lot of work. We need accountants to do that. We need lawyers to do that. If you want to share the information with the government, we need more accountants to share the information and to check what's happening in your database and in the government's database. But what happens if we can put all this information in the same network, on the same blockchain platform? Suddenly, all the transactions between all the companies can be conducted as easy as that. No marginal cost, no transaction cost. You want to transfer money to another company, you don't need to pay for accountants, for lawyers, and so on. You need to press the button, and it happens. Here is a demonstration of what that actually means. Let's talk about blockchain in healthcare. We are going today into the Internet of Things era, when we are going to have sensors all over our bodies. Which sensors do we already have? Okay, let's see. Who here has a sensor on them? Raise your hands if you have a sensor on you. Raise your hands if you have a sensor on you. Great, so you have the Fitbit, the Apple Watch. Okay, the smartwatch. Great, who else? Who else? What do you have? You have a smartwatch too. Who has a smartphone on them? Raise your hands if you have a smartphone on you. Really, that's it? That's all? Come on, that's probably all of you. Guys, if you have a smartphone on you, you already have more than 20 different sensors on you that are constantly checking what's going on in the environment and sometimes in your body as well. So we are reading vital signs from your body all the time. And we're going to start doing that more and more. We're going to have smart shoes. We already have Nike's smart shoes. We're going to have smart belts, Fitbits, smart watches, smart glasses, smart hats. But all of this information, if you could just take all of this information and run algorithms on it, medical algorithms, well, they could actually tell us things that no human medical doctor could tell us today, because they would know us completely. But for that to happen, we need to share this information. We need to take all of this information together, from the shoes, from the belt, from the pants, from the Fitbit and the glasses and the hat, and look at all this information together. And that can't happen today. Why not? Because Nike is manufacturing the shoes, and another company is manufacturing the watch, and another company is manufacturing the hat. So all of this information is separate. And we also want to, by the way, we also want to look at the Google searches that you make and the Facebook activity. All of these things can really help us diagnose your state of health. But it's all in separate places. But that's the state of things today. In the not so far future, 10 years from now, we'll have one massive blockchain platform that all medical companies upload their information to this platform, where it's completely safe and where we actually have control over our information. So I, Roey Tzezana, will be able to tell all my devices to upload the information to the blockchain platform, and only I will be able to look at this information. And I'll be able to run algorithms on this information to check my health. And who is going to get the report from these algorithms? Do I want the government to know exactly what's going on with me? I don't know in Slovakia, but we have this demonstration out there, so maybe not so much. Do I want the insurance companies to know what's going on with me? Not so much. Those algorithms are going to tell me what's going on with my health. They're going to be my guardian angels. They're going to run for me on the blockchain network. And it's already starting to happen. You have companies like Medical Chain, startup companies, that create blockchain-based platforms so that people can actually upload their medical records over there, and they can view them in any country and any hospital, while still maintaining control over their data. So we're going to have algorithms running on our information and giving us insights. Not the government, not the industry, us, serving us. And this is just the beginning. We're starting to see other ideas for using the blockchain. We're starting to see services like storage.io, that can actually save your files on the cloud. Do you use Dropbox? Anyone here uses Dropbox? Dropbox? Yeah, okay. So how does Dropbox work? You upload the file, you save the file, and it's being saved in the cloud. But what does cloud mean? It means in Dropbox servers, and then it goes. You can take it from everywhere, from Dropbox servers, and you need to pay quite a lot for that every month. Storage allows you to do something different. The information about the file storing goes on the blockchain platform, and suddenly you can use everybody's computers to save your files in an encrypted way. So when I use storage, I upload my file to the cloud, and this time it's a real cloud. It's all of your computers, all of your smartphones. Each of you saves 1 megabyte of my file, and when I need it back, the file flows back from everybody's computers. And because you contribute to this sharing economy, what do you get for servicing me? you get a little money in return for your services. Here is another blockchain-based idea. It's called Kleros. Kleros is a crowd jury platform. And this is something amazing. If you want justice today, if you have a dispute, if I have a dispute with John, yeah, Michael went away, so you're the only one left. Okay. If I have a dispute, hey Sonia, with Sonia, then I can go to court with her, right? I can sue you, but it's going to cost me a lot, and it's going to take a long time until the justice, until I actually get justice, because I'm trying to rely on national justice. What are you doing? What?
Can I ask you something?
Yes, you can ask me something.
You speak about the cloud. Can
Yeah.
I ask something?
Yeah.
Is it that people can, the owners of the cloud, can like look at my info even they could not normally?
Great question. Great question. So can people look at at my information on the cloud? And okay, so the answer is that on the global ledger of the blockchain platform, only you should have permission to look at your information. Only you and people you allow, or entities you allow.
There is one part I should. It's like different in reality.
Very good. Okay, so he says, I don't know if you can hear him, but he says quite cynically and quite correctly, that is what should happen. But in reality, we all know that the industry is going to cheat us, that the government is going to look at our information anyway. I need to move on. And you're absolutely right under the current paradigm of information storage. But the idea is that if you use if you program the blockchain platform in the right way, it should be completely secure, even from governments and from the industry. But you need to program it the right way from the beginning. Let me continue. I'm sorry, but I want to continue. Okay, I just want to tell you about Kleros because it's a very interesting thing to understand. Kleros is actually a way for everyone to get their disputes solved on the cloud. You don't go to your own judicial system. You don't go to your Slovakian courts of justice that take a long time and are very bureaucratic and are very costly and expensive. Instead, you upload your dispute to Kleros, and the system connects people from all over the world that can judge in the dispute for you for a very low cost. So suddenly you have a court of justice in the cloud. But you remember what we said earlier? That very soon AI will start performing consulting services for us. So it will consult us on medical care, it will consult us on investments, on legal, and it will actually start to judge between us. And when we are looking at a world where all the information is on a single platform and you can run algorithms on it, what happens is that those algorithms can also give you the thing that is most important for every human society, more than money, justice. To punish the wicked and to reward the righteous. To look at everything that you do, analyze it, and incentivize you to do the right things all the time. And we're actually starting to approach that future to a world of instant justice. And in a way, if you think about it in the right way, you can look at this quote, that God is the head of this house, the unseen guest at every meal, the silent listener to every conversation. When we have a platform that contains everything that you do, when we have algorithms run by everyone that reward you or punish you for what you do, we're actually creating a God, a technological God that will reshape society. And that could be the best thing that ever happened to mankind, as long as we know who is controlling this God, who is programming it, what are the things that should be rewarded and what should be punished. What kind of gods, what kind of AI algorithms that look after us do we want to program for ourselves? And who is going to maintain them? These are the questions that need to bother us, need to concern us for the future. And it's already starting to happen. Who is this guy? Zuckerberg, Mark Zuckerberg. He is the god of Facebook. Facebook has 2.2 billion people today. Facebook controls what you are doing, what you are allowed to say on its platform. Facebook controls if you can use its platform or not. If you say the wrong things, you get exiled from Facebook. If you do the wrong things on Google, you won't get to use the internet, because Google is the internet today. So we're already creating those artificial gods. But right now, they are owned by the industry. And we need to take the power back to our hands. And hopefully it will happen because of the blockchain revolution. And it won't just stay there. It won't just end there. Because some initiatives are even thinking farther than that. They are thinking that if we can create algorithms that give us justice, that allow us to create banking services in the cloud, to create a governance system in the cloud, to store our ID and documents in the cloud, to have insurance and so on in the cloud. All of those things used to belong only to nation states. You used to need a territory for that. But if you move all these things to the cloud and no government can control them, then what you get is a new kind of services. You can get services that belong to certain communities, and everybody can enjoy these services, even if they are not in the same territory. So we can actually create a service in insurance and banking and ID and digital governance scheme for all the people of Slovakia, for example, on the blockchain platform 10 or 20 years from now. And if Slovakia, heaven forbid, suddenly gets swallowed by the sea because, climate change and global warming, and all the people of Slovakia get spread around the world, but they are still connected to this platform, what happens to Slovakia? Slovakia, the nation state, the territorial state is dead. But Slovakia, the culture, the sharing of information, the willingness to support everyone else who originated from Slovakia, that still remains. In essence, Slovakia becomes a cloud nation, a nation that exists in the cloud and connects between everyone, all the Slovakians, even though we're not in the same territory. And there are already, as I said, there are already organizations trying to make that happen. For example, in Estonia, you can already become an e-resident of Estonia. You can apply and become one of the 20,000 or so e-residents in Estonia, open a banking account in Estonia, open companies in Estonia, and so on. And we're actually trying to do that now for the Jewish people. We're trying to create the Jewish cloud nation, an idea that says that all the Jews around the world share the same heritage, and we have a lot of money, so why not try to share in all that and create a cloud nation, to have a banking service for all the Jewish people around the world, and insurance for all the Jewish people around the world. And we hope to show that this can actually be done. And if it can be done, then this is going to be replicated for every community and every country and everyone that wants to do it. Palestinians and Iranians and the Americans and Slovakians, whoever wants to, can get the system and the insights that we've obtained. So I hope I've given you some glimpse of the possible futures, of a future of AI, artificial intelligence that can settle disputes between us, that can serve us, but can also rule us. And that's not necessarily a bad thing if we just program it the right way. And this is the most important thing, to understand that we must have this power in our hands. We must demand the governments and our industries not to operate algorithms that we don't know what they're about. We need to have this power in our hands. And I want to show you one last picture to show you just how bright of a future we have. This is a picture that whenever I look at it, I know that things are going to turn out all right. So this is my son. Yeah. When he was born, I promised that I'll give him everything that I had. And I gave him all my hair, and he never gave any of it back. I guess he never will too. But he's 6 years old today. And he started learning programming, actually computer programming, and he's really excited about it. And he asked me to tell him about the future and what I think about the future, and I told him how concerned I am, and I told him everything that I told you right now. He's a bright boy, he can take it. And when I finished, he saw how worried I am, and actually in this dinner, he put his hand on my thigh, and he tried to comfort me. And he told me, "Daddy, you don't have to worry. I will program a better world for you." And I don't think he is going to be alone, because all of you here are going to also take part in programming a better world for all of us. I wish you the best of luck in that task. Thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you. Thank you. Do we have time for questions? Do we have time for questions? Nobody's answering, so I guess we do have time for questions. Any questions? Any questions? You know everything. Why am I even here? Okay, so, we have questions. Great. Yes, you. You need to shout.
Hi.
Hi.
So I wonder, we presume like for all of us to benefit from all this wonderful technology, we need to have a basic infrastructure, right?
Yeah, yes.
For me to have some digital competencies. But still, we are living in a world where almost 900 million people are starving, and where we are very far from all the people to have at least the basic means to access all that you are talking about. So where is the optimism for them?
Great question. Okay, I'll repeat the question, and tell me when my time is up, okay? Great. So the question was basically, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but the question was basically, why are you so darn optimistic? Why do you think everything is going to be fine? Because people are still starving. People don't have the right infrastructure. People in Africa, in Asia, don't get medicine, and so on. And what we are seeing today is that the world is becoming a dramatically healthier place, a dramatically wealthier place as well. Over the last 25 years, we've diminished extreme poverty in developing countries by 66% in the last 25 years. We have increased the life expectancy all over the world, so that now the life expectancy, again, all over the world, in average, 70 years old, and it just keeps on increasing. We're bringing internet everywhere. In 10 years from now, we're going to have internet all over the world again. What else can I tell you? Well, everything. Thank you. Great. I appreciate it. Okay, can you hear me? Great. So we are going. We're improving everybody's quality of life, and even though it doesn't look that way immediately when you're looking just at what we have around us, you need to know that in Africa, in Asia, in the developing regions, things are progressing very, very well, and really it's amazing to see. Whenever I travel to these countries, I can see how much they are developing. So, and more than that, it's a cycle. Because if we are bringing 4 more billion people to the internet, if we are connecting them to everybody else, if we allow them to take part in this culture of innovation, then suddenly we have 4 billion more brilliant brains, minds, who can come up with new inventions, with new ideas, who can make the world an even better place. So we're going towards a bright future, in my view. Technology is going to keep on making things better for us, as long as we know how to control it and how to direct it to our purposes. But this is why we talk, in order to make sure that we all understand that. Okay, can I have another question? Can I take another question? You wanted to ask something?
My question was the same as the one before about we don't want all the information to be controlled by people outside of ourselves, for example, governments. But if just now they changed the privacy laws, but what happened is now every website says, do you accept the cookies? And if you don't accept the cookies, you don't access the website. So what happens when the insurance companies say, you give us the information or we don't give you the insurance?
Thank you. So, thank you. This is a great question. And my answer is not an orthodox one, but this is the best I have. My answer is that privacy is basically dead. That information today, you can't stop it. I mean, there are plenty of, there is a theory behind it, but I won't go into it. But the final idea is that if you want good services, if you want high quality services, you need to pay with your data in order to get those services. But this is the case today. And once you allow a company to use your data, you have no control over it. The company can now share it basically everywhere. And this is how things are working today. Hopefully, when we have a blockchain-based platform that in which you control your information, you can choose to allow not a company, but only an algorithm to look at your information, determine what to do, for example, what's your state of health, and then you can choose what to do with it. If you want a good insurance, you'll probably still need to share some of that information. There is nothing to do about it, because otherwise you're cheating the insurance companies. But in short, I think that people today who want to preserve their privacy but still get really good services, they are dreaming. It can't be done with the technology we have today. And the important thing that governments need to worry about, that the regulators need to worry about today, is not to make sure that your information isn't being spread around, because it will be spread around anyway. That's the nature of data, of digital data. Instead, the regulator needs to watch for companies and how they are using that data. If they're using it in ways that are malicious, then the regulator needs to act against them. Do we have time for more questions? Great. Okay, you wanted to ask a question. Yes.
Can I sit and ask? Can I sit and ask? Yeah. Firstly, I have to say, because I joined you a little bit late, and my question is regarding, because you said about something different nation, Iranian, and all these. And if it's regarding something like to invest in some kind of specific business or what? Because I'm really sorry because I came a little bit late. You know, I just heard the last few sentences. Okay, sorry. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we'll talk about it later next to the stage. Okay, anyone else? Who else wants to ask a question? I'm not biting. Not right now. You again? Nobody else?
You didn't show us Sophia. In the beginning, when you were showing the robots, I kind of was expecting Sophia. And so, as the most humanoid robot that we have, can you talk a little bit about the humanization?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so Sophia. You guys know about Sophia? You know about Sophia? No, yeah, not the capital city, the robot. Okay, so Sophia is, well, it's a robot shaped like a human, like a human being, a human being, and it recently even received a citizenship in Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia or the United Arab Emirates, one of the, I think Saudi Arabia. Sophia, with all due respect, and they have lots of respect for the inventors behind it, it's not very sophisticated. I mean, the sophisticated part about Sophia is the design of the robot itself, because its face looks very real, very realistic. It blinks, it smiles, it looks at you, and so on. But the actual artificial intelligence behind it, the thing that actually talks back to you, not very sophisticated, and you can actually see that when you are trying to talk with Sophia, the replies are basically recorded in advance. But it opens a new and interesting question of what rights should robots have? Because Sophia received citizenship in Saudi Arabia. But Sophia is not a Muslim. At least I don't think she is a Muslim. And in Saudi Arabia, you don't get citizenship if you're not a Muslim. So in Saudi Arabia, women can't drive cars on their own. Women sometimes can't get out of the house on their own. Why does Sophia get rights, human rights, that Saudi Arabia prevents half of their population from having? What's going on here? So these are questions that we need to ask ourselves, and they will become much more important as robots become more similar to human beings. We're going to give them some rights. And that's not, it's not as crazy as it sounds, because animals have rights. They have the right not to be mutilated for no purpose, for cruelty alone. If you see someone, heaven forbid, burning a cat out in the street, you report to the police, and the justice system will punish that person. Why? Because animals have some rights. Corporations have some rights as well. So robots are definitely going to have rights. But which rights will they have? Will we be able to hurt a robot, to have sex with a robot, to marry a robot, to bury a robot in a dignified burial? All of these questions are starting to be asked right now. And we'll need to find answers for them. And if you remember the end of the lecture, we talked about having an AI God, a system of rules that looks after you all the time and enforces itself. That means there is no more room for ambiguity. There is no more room for moral ambiguity. If the rules say that something is wrong, then you will be found when you are doing it, and you will be punished. So we need to be very certain about the moral laws that we set for ourselves, because they will be looked after very stringently by the AI. Okay, thank you everyone, thank you again, thank you.
Thank you very much. Ďakujeme veľmi pekne, dámy a páni. Veľký potlesk pre nášho prednášateľa, Mr. Roey Tzezana. Evidentne vás to zaujalo, bolo to naozaj veľmi zaujímavé, pútavé, ale my sa posunieme opäť ďalej